Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GBM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, April Martinez and Isani Caetano.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
I am Isani Caetano. Good morning.
And good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, Isani.
Good morning, April.
How's it going?
Man, I want to complain, but I can't start off the morning and start the show to
complain,
right?
you can't.
But I'm doing fairly well,
Yes.
given the heat.
Given the heat indeed. But it's been like, you know when I say the devil and the wife, they're married?
Yeah.
That kind of the vibe has been going because it's been raining and then the sun is
Where
out.
has it been raining in
It has
Belfast?
been raining and on the
Oh,
way
man.
actually. So
Here
like
in Belize, it's been brutal from the start of
dry.
the weekend.
Aye. But you know what? We're so happy to be here
Yes,
with
we
us.
are.
Thank you so much for starting your morning right, wherever you are. If you're having your cup of coffee at the moment, I'm about to have mine in just a sec. Thank you for being here with us on Open Your Eyes.
Today is August 10th.
It is. You don't know what I want to say.
We're on the heels of a lot of things, right? But we'll get into that conversation later,
Of
right?
course, Isani. It is Monday. We have a wonderful show lineup for you
Yes, we
all.
do.
So if you can come over here and join me so we can talk about what you can expect in our Monday morning show. So we're going to start things off with the MSME Digital Transformation Program. We'll have representatives from the MSME Digital Transformation Program to discuss how they're helping medium, small businesses improve their digital skills, how they can improve their wider reach with these tools. In our second conversation, we have a brand new Miss Earth Belize 2026. Of course, Ms. Vashti Thompson will be in to talk to us about her journey. She'll talk to us about her experiences and much more. So you want to stay locked in right here and Open Your Eyes, where we'll have these wonderful conversations. Isani?
All right, April. Guys, we have a couple of things that we want you to know this morning before you leave home, or if you're just waking up and you're having your cup of coffee. Here are a couple of points you want to know this morning. All right, so on Friday, we led our newscast with the tragic news of Shoeliu's death in the Belize River. That's a conversation that's ongoing. We're going to get a bit more into that. And of course, the buzzing topic this morning, as I said, today is August 10th. We're on the heels of a PUP convention in Corozal. And there's a whole lot that we're going to get into some politics later on in our conversation. And for those of you music fans, lovers of Tupac's music like myself, it's been almost 30 years since Tupac was murdered in Las Vegas. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis is standing trial today for the murder of Tupac Shakur. And as April mentioned earlier, we've crowned a new Miss Earth Belize. Miss Vashti is going to be in with us to talk a bit about her journey so far. But before then, we're going to have a little chit chat over the weekend's events, right? And speaking about the weekend's events, Saturday night into Sunday morning was a tragic one here in Belize City. Two young men lost their lives on Mahogany Street in a motorcycle accident. And we can't stress enough about motorcycle safety, but we're also going to get into that. And if you're out in the Keys over the weekend, particularly in Key Carker, this would have been on Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken, in the Split area. A huge crocodile came up near the shores where some folks were, entertaining and having a fun time, right? And of course, last but certainly not least, KTV Remix Season 8 Tomorrow we get into another brand new vibe, a different genre of music. We're going to get into all of those conversations. April?
All right, thank you so much, Isani. Of course, we have a lot to discuss on our Monday morning, but I just want to say good morning to our loyal viewers that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube. I see Mr. Francisco Madrid, he's already up with his morning coffee. Good morning, Michelle Sampson. Good morning to you. Good morning, Samson Jacobs. Good morning to you as well, Esther Courtney Weatherburn. Janelle Druhecki is already on. We have Join Belize says that he is locked in all the way from Brooklyn, New York.
Nice.
Of course, we know we have our lovely viewers from the diaspora that are always tuning in. So thank you all so much for starting your morning right here with us. But Isani, it was an eventful weekend for the People's United Party in Corozal as they had their convention over the weekend.
Yeah, I think before we get into what took place over the weekend in Corozal, I think this is like previews of upcoming attractions for Belize City at the end of this month.
Yeah.
But since we're in the topic of politics, right? You have a situation where there was a point in time where the People's United Party wasn't really popular. So you didn't have as many people expressing interest in running for the party at any level, right? Now, the party has risen to prominence 2020 and afterwards.
Yes.
So when you have a lot of people wanting to get in at this point, that's one thing. The other thing is you have ministers/area representatives who are now acting as power brokers, so to speak, right? They want to have a direct hand in who gets elected and who runs for what post or what office. So enter Tia Garcia,
Yes.
right? She is the area representative for Corozal Bay. And incumbent Mayor Rigo Veos, having served 3 consecutive terms in office and had openly expressed an interest to run again for a 4th term, she says, okay, well, we'll challenge you with my candidate that I'm putting forward, and you guys have to go to a convention to determine who will actually represent the PUP in Corozal town.
Yes.
And from all outward appearances, this would have been a situation where the incumbent was the underdog,
Yes.
because the area representative poured a lot of resources
Into
into
her campaign.
Shahari Rogers, right?
Yes.
As her candidate. But I'll tell you this, the Corozal people serious about Rigo.
They are.
They're very serious about Rigo.
They are.
Right? So much so that when we were on the ground yesterday, I had a team out there, Paul and George, from the onset. When we were on the ground yesterday, the chants for Rigo were overwhelming. It's difficult for you not to hear that in the background. Even when we were interviewing Thea Garcia, when we were interviewing all of these other people, that buzz for Rigo was loud.
Was there, yes.
Right? But here's my question, and this is an open thought, right? If I don't prove myself 3 times over,
Yeah.
right? Why would my seat be challenged? I'm tried and true, right? You could say, well, Isani run 3 times, he has proven himself. But I could also understand that in some cases you want to inject new blood into a system where, you know what, we're tired of the same old, is that how we feel? We want to put somebody new to see what will happen.
Yeah, I think I'll be very honest. I wasn't so much paying attention to Corozal, and perhaps maybe it's the way of social media, right, as I was paying to Belize City and to Belmopan.
Well, Belize City
right?
not happened yet?
No, in terms of who was running and so forth. I got buzzed about, I believe, Miss Rogers, upcoming political career a couple of weeks ago when I was hearing the buzz in Corozal and I was hearing persons talk about it. I have to say though, despite, and I would really want people to understand that we live in a free democratic nation.
Yeah.
Right? Where despite if it's being from the same party or opposite parties, you have your right to throw in your hat into the ring.
Yeah, definitely.
To campaign and to see what people will say. If you feel that, you know, certain needs of the community are not being met and you think that you can do something about it, it is your right to go ahead. What I do think creates the obstacle, Isani, is when we have either from the municipal or from the whole administration putting their sides on one person. That's when I see where, you know, if you are in government, if you have a seat somewhere, I would stay as neutral as possible within my within my party, because you want to give people the right to choose for themselves and to think for themselves and to have their own opinions.
Well, that's why I was saying you have area representatives now who are acting in the capacity of power brokers, right? And in some cases, I use the word kingmaker because that's what they're
But I
seeking
think
to do.
those sort of things divide a party when you do that, because what the people want to hear is from the person that's running.
Yeah.
This is where, you know, when you and I sit on the couch and we talk about municipal body versus, like, you know, your administration, people tend to blur the lines as to who's doing the work in certain areas, because this is the challenge. This is what happens when an area representative backs somebody. They're like, okay, so then that means that funds are going to go to one person. So what happened to the next person? And then you start to see this sort of rift happen within a party.
I respect what you're saying, but we're drawing it too wide.
Okay.
It starts at the partisan level. Make no mistake.
Yes,
it starts
of
at
course.
the partisan level. And area representatives who have their supporters lend their support to certain candidates of choice, right? Good. So in this case, Shahiri Rogers was Thea's candidate of choice.
Yes.
Now, what is interesting to me is the fact that in Belize City, a few years ago, when Alan Pollard Jr. wanted to contest the seat, he was made to stand down because Bernard Wagner, who's the incumbent mayor, had already proven himself twice.
Yes.
And so, the power brokers told AP, why
Sit down. Yeah.
stand down for this one,
Yeah.
make the man go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, a similar scenario is playing out in Corozal.
But that didn't happen.
That didn't happen,
Yeah.
right? As I mentioned at the top of the conversation, the incumbent was made to be the underdog, right?
Very true.
Now he has proven himself very, very
well,
capable,
yeah.
very popular among his people to go for a fourth consecutive term. Now, what does that mean for the opposition? Because now the UDP will have to find a candidate who is strong enough, who is popular, who is clean in a manner of speaking,
To contest, yeah.
to go against someone who is running for the fourth time in a row.
And it's not just about Mayor Rigo as well. If I'm not mistaken, his entire council,
entire slate came in.
won.
Yeah.
So it's him and his team that the Corozaleños clearly have their faith in. So we'll see what happens. But I have to say that for a newcomer, Miss Rogers did well.
Yeah, when I say she didn't do well.
I'm thinking I didn't believe.
It's not like she was blown out of the water.
No, it was by, I want to say, like over 600 or so votes that she lost. So, but I have to say, for a newcomer, for somebody that's just putting their hat into politics, and I have to give her props that as a woman she ran. We don't see women in politics that often.
Yeah.
So I have to give her flowers to, put herself out there, to be brave and to actually get quite a lot of votes, if I'm not, mistaken.
So, all of that is great, right? PUP, municipal politics in the north. My attention is locked solely to Belize City.
As you should, because
That's
this is the way you live.
It's not only where I live, but really and truly Belize City is the heart of it all.
But that's
right?
when you
look at the concentration of constituencies, those of which are blue, naturally Belize City is where you want to look at what's happening with politics internally. This is to the People's United Party, right? And so at the end of the month, we're going to see Elude
That
Miller
convention.
facing Alan Pollard Jr. in a convention, a delegates convention, right? And it's a different scenario than what we witnessed yesterday in Corozal, where it's an open convention, right? So much so that in Belize City, those who won their seats and are area representatives, you get one delegate per 25 votes that you received in the last elections, right?
Yeah.
What is interesting about this arrangement, so to speak, is the fact that going into the previous general elections, you had two constituencies in Belize that were unchallenged. And so Mahler and Usher rode into Parliament without a challenge. So what delegates do they have to bring to this convention? Because nobody never voted for them, right? They were uncontested. That's the primary question here.
That's a good point, yeah.
If in Pickstock, nobody chose to run against Anthony Mahler and he was unchallenged and rode in, if in Fort George, nobody challenged Henry Charles Usher and he also rode in, then you don't have a base to say, well, you know what? I have one delegate per 25 votes that I received. You never gone to the polls. So how does that part work?
I think that for the Belize City convention, I feel like I think that all eyes will be here specifically because of how these two gentlemen have been in the spotlight for the better part of this year, and the entire political career of Alan Pollard. From he contested the mayorship, he's tried to run for area representative twice in a row. You know, so I feel like there is going to be a lot of area representative once. And I think that all eyes will be on these two gentlemen because of the amount of momentum that they both garnered. I know the run is standing and I'm nervous for this convention. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we're locked in.
You're nervous?
I'm nervous and I don't even this convention and I don't even live here.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but
neither do I. But I am
enjoy
just so curious to see what's going to happen, and I think that's part of the reason why everybody's locked into Belize City.
You know why people are also keen on this one? When you look at the developments of last week, with that controversial vote for the BTL Board of Directors.
Oh, yes.
And it is being said that Alan Pollard's vote was a dissenting vote, right?
Yeah.
So how does that play out now when August 30th comes around? That's what Belizean people are also talking about, and they're anticipating what could possibly happen there, right? So that's the reason why a lot of Belizean people keen and locked on this one, right?
City. This is the hotbed, I think, for all of the other conventions. And I think maybe that's why I've not really been so in tune with the other conventions. I'm trying my best to be tuned in now because we're having them across the country for both political parties. So congratulations to Mr. Rigo Veos and his team. Of course, Ms. Shahari Rogers and her team, you know, you guys want to run a good race. But we're going to see now what takes place in the other conventions to come for the month.
All right, so let's circle back now to our lead story on Friday. And this was a rough one, a very, very difficult one for many of us to process, right? Before we get into it, you know, the idea of people who were born autistic and have to live with this for their natural lives, right? And all the challenges that come with autism.
Yeah.
I was telling the newsroom on Friday, you know, we just had to deal with Gabriel Orellano a year before that with his tragic drowning near the hangar area here in Belize City. And here you have a situation where this young lady was with her relative, right, an elderly man, and a pair of dogs, and they were walking along the Philip Golson Highway when they came under attack by a swarm of bees.
Yeah.
And she immediately took to
The water.
the Belize River, which is nearby to where they were. So that was the first thing that caught my attention, right? It's like, wow. And that's because somewhere in our coverage of the Gabriel Oriano
Case.
situation, this whole talk about autistic people and water, right?
Yeah.
So this is like symbolic in a manner of speaking. All right, so I just laid the groundwork so how I saw it on Friday, but these are the facts as I laid them out earlier. These people, they're of Asian descent. They were walking along the highway, as most people, you know, if you've ever driven the Philip Goldson Highway, at that part where you could clearly see the Belize River snaking around and what have you.
It needs a little pathway.
People go there for fish, people go there for have lunch and just hang out on the bank of the river, right? And so it's not anything that is unusual.
Yeah.
But the idea that they came under attack by a swarm of killer bees, right? This is crazy. I was in a meeting on Friday when I got the alert of it. And we had to scramble a team. And apparently, we were the first media house on the ground that day, right? And so when we got there, people were just beginning to shore up effort to try to go into the river looking for Shui Liu, right? And at this point, April, and I know my colleague Paul did an excellent job of commending our local Belizean heroes who went into that water.
Yeah.
But while we're on air this morning, I also want to, acknowledge and commend these gentlemen for their bravery. I think one of the most profound images that stayed with me, and I'm kind of choke up when I see it, to be honest with you, is upon the recovery of the body, these swimmers, these divers consoled the sibling of the young lady. Yeah. And I think that was a powerful vision, to behold in terms of that compassion and that sympathy being shared openly, right? But like I said, this was a tough one.
I have to also commend the fact that it took a community effort, right?
Yes.
People, members of the community, the Coast Guard, everybody came out.
So there's the image that I was talking about earlier.
The fact that she took to water, I don't know if you had this when you were growing up, Isani, but my grandfather said that if you ever found yourself being chased by bees,
you don't go into water.
You do. You do take to water because you kind of like they will not follow you through. So you do. But
I would argue that the experts have said you don't, because the bees, they're not going nowhere. So the reason I'm arguing against that is because we had Elise Gayon Vernon, who is a trained beekeeper. We did a story on previous attacks with bees, and that's one of the first things you're told: don't take to water.
I think I think that for her, she was trying to find a solution for them to stop the following.
Yes. No,
right?
In this case,
yes.
But I'm saying, in terms of expert advice, you are warned against doing that.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is that I think in her case, because there was nowhere else, it's either the river or, the street. And you don't, I'm not sure, and I don't know what her thought process would have been like. You're scared, you're trying to get away, you're trying to protect yourself. And in these moments, you go to where you perhaps maybe think that is safer. Yeah. And so
I don't know what I would do in a situation like that. Admittedly, that's a difficult scenario to find yourself in, coming under attack.
I don't know if you've ever been attacked by bees.
No, I haven't. I have. Thank God.
And I've not been around a body of water, thank goodness, but running does not help your situation. In fact, it kind of irritates them even more. I don't know what the experts would say when something like that happens to you. What do you do when something like that happens to you? Particularly killer bees and their sting is very, very painful. Some people are allergic. So I don't know, these sort of tragedies that are so, we would not know what to do in a situation like that. In a situation where it's nobody's fault. It's just something that is terrible that happened.
Yeah.
And how else do you commend other than giving your condolences to the family and to the friends?
We're still reeling from that one.
Yes.
Right? Now, come back to Belize City, right? When we woke up yesterday morning, it's the news of a tragedy that happened right here in Belize City. Now, this is one that is of equal interest to me, simply because about a week or so ago, let's say about a week and a half or so ago, I was on my way to the morning show, and I had to take a different route coming to work because the roundabout over there by Princess Margaret Drive had been cordoned off. And I wanted to know what's going on, but I'm kind of pressed for time to reach that work too. It wasn't until moments later that I realized someone had crashed into the median, right, and lost their life. So that was a week and a half or so ago. So waking up yesterday morning, and I'm seeing images of this wreckage on Mahogany Street, and then I learned afterwards that 2 persons died.
In that accident, yes.
My first thing is, why are we speeding in Belize City?
That was my question.
Why are we speeding in Belize City? And I ride a cycle.
Yes.
I try to take care of how I ride the cycle so I am safe and other people on the carriageway are equally safe, right? It can't be a situation where we're that reckless. And this is what I find interesting, ironic even, is that the one here on Coney Drive by the roundabout that I said, this was early in the morning, no traffic, no nothing.
So where was the rush?
Right? Yeah. That was one. The one on Mahogany Street, this was about 2 a.m. Yes, I understand Mahogany Street always alive with people, but the traffic is less than if it was 4 p.m. or some other time of day where the road is trafficable.
Yeah.
Why speed?
I don't know if it's so much as it is about speeding, Isani, and I don't drive a motorbike, but I find that people that do drive motorbikes, they think that they can fit anywhere and they could maneuver their way through traffic.
Okay.
And
but in both circumstances, I'm telling you that it wasn't trafficable.
It wasn't speed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they were speeding, because no traffic met it there. And so they just felt like they had an open road and they could just go. You could imagine if they're speeding when it is traffic, you could imagine when there's none and they just feel like there's space and they can just go. You have to drive a little bit more cautiously. You have to be able to drive defensively for yourself and for others. You never know. Even if it looked like nobody there on the
Someone
street,
was on the sidewalk and that person got hit by the motorcycle and he
yes.
lost his life. Imagine, you there where you belong, you up on the sidewalk as a pedestrian or, standing there, that you're on the right side, so to speak, and then you get in an unfortunate situation, you lose your life.
Yes.
So we're going to be discussing that a little bit later on in the news, because that's something that we're going to be looking into closely as well.
Yes.
I just want to throw this one in there because it's of interest to me, and I'm certain a lot of music lovers out there. I know
when I saw it come up on my social media, I don't know if it wasn't right away, but I saw it on my social media and I said, I guarantee you this will be a conversation tomorrow.
It has to be. Look, an entire generation of us, not only music lovers, but Belizeans who, follow the music of Tupac Shakur and the impact that he had as an artist, right? He died in 1996, September 13th, a day before my younger brother's birthday, right? And I remember that moment in time. That will always stay with me, right? And so all these developments that took place thereafter, and they could not find who killed Tupac, right? Yeah. They say it was Orlando Baby Lane Anderson from the Southside Crips because of this whole situation where a death row chain was snatched and there was a fight outside of the Mike Tyson fight and all of that in Las Vegas. It spilled out and they came under gunfire in a drive-by shooting. Tupac was fatally injured. Suge Knight was also injured, but he survived the attack, right? Years later, the suspect lost his life in a different encounter. But here you have a relative of Orlando Anderson who has given graphic detail of what took place that night, right? From the perspective of someone who was inside the vehicle that drove up on Suge Knight and Tupac. Now, this person was under investigation initially. He detailed to the investigators exactly what took place, right? He was offered what is called an Alford plea, and he turned it down. Then published a book detailing everything. And he went on social media, this would have been Vlad TV, where he's saying, well, don't worry about all of this story where anybody put out, those are theories. If you want to know the fact of it, read my book. Well, what do you think happens, right?
Everybody read the book. Yeah.
He thought in his mind that because all the other people who would have been tied to that incident have been long dead and gone, that he now has the authority to speak candidly about what took place. Well, then investigators they turn to him.
How do you know
So how do you know
much?
all of these details?
All these details,
Right?
yeah.
And in his mind, Keefe D, there he is, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, he's in his early 60s, right? Goes on trial later today, and if found guilty, he'll spend the rest of his life
in prison.
in prison
Yeah.
for something that happened 30 years ago, because he felt as if, though, well, there is no statute of limitations on murder. Well, I guess he learned that the hard way, right?
this day, and I know you were definitely. I was very, very young when Tupac died, but his music lives on forever, and that's how you know you're legendary, right?
I was
But
15 years old.
I was very,
Yeah.
very young when that happened. But I will say that the fact that there were no like really, really hardcore evidence, and there were no suspects that were being tried like that. His
There was a
death-
thing called the Rampart scandal, right?
Yeah, but
where
his-
the officers who were investigating it apparently were in collusion and didn't do a proper
There were-
job of the thing. So
there
they
were
never
so many
arrest and charge anybody.
conspiracy theories that came out of his death, to the point where people were like, he's not really dead, man. He's somewhere on an island sipping and he's retired. Like, that was how little how much non-closure people had about his death, right? To the point where people were just like, it's almost like a myth.
Yeah.
Almost. And so I think today is almost like a historical day for
Yeah.
persons that really loved his music and still listen to his music, and the impact that he had on hip hop and so forth. So today is going to be a
let me
historical
correct
day.
myself quickly. I was mentioning the Rampart scandal, but I was confusing that with the biggest
the biggest
Right?
situation.
But yes,
But-
I mean, what I'm saying is you had all of this investigation that was taking place, right? But it didn't really go anywhere. And so people
Yeah.
lost hope that they would ever find the persons
Person
who
that did
killed Tupac Shakur and the persons who killed the notorious B.I.G. But here we are 30 years later.
Well, I do have to, before we close off our conversation this morning, just to look at some of the viewership and the commentary on Facebook. We have persons that are commenting on the conversation. We also have Brian Jacobs that's asking about the crocodile situation all over
Yeah.
the country. Are we protecting them? Are they overbreathing? And so forth. We have Michelle Sampson that's talking about the joyriders in Belize City. She's saying these joyriders nightly go up and down the highway making a lot of noise and nothing is done. So clearly they frequent and they speed to this magnitude, especially late at night. But we want to say thank you so much for engaging with us in the commentary section of Facebook. I know we have our comments on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for engaging with us. But Isani, we do have to close this portion of our Monday morning show to take a quick break. When we return, BTL, we'll have a conversation about the BTL acquisition with the folks from BCCI and unions as they weigh in on the future of the Belize telecommunications sector.
Connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing star 100 # using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
The future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment.
When your baby feels comfortable, you feel confident. Because every little moment deserves protection you can trust. Kushkin's diapers are designed with ultra-absorbent layers that lock in leaks while staying soft, dry, and gentle on delicate skin. So your baby can play freely and you can enjoy every smile without worry. Kushkin's diapers, comfort they feel, protection you trust. Kushkin's diapers and wipes are available countrywide at a supermarket near you.
Introducing BB Insurance, built for Belize. Your security, our priority.
And welcome back. Joining us for our first conversation, we have the Vice President of Industry for the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. William Usher. Good morning. Good morning. And he's accompanied by Rayan Rosado. He's the Chief Policy Analyst at the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And joining them is the Union Senator, Glenfield Dennison. He represents the National Trade Union Congress of Belize. Good morning, Senator Dennison.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, we're here this morning to discuss one of the hot topic conversations over the past week, and this is a full circle conversation from
year,
earlier this year,
yeah.
right? And this has to do, with the proposed buyout of SpeedNet Communications. Now, we have the chamber and we have the union rep here with us this morning. I want to begin first of all by getting your take on the controversial vote that was taken last week by the BTL Board of Directors. Let's start with you, Senator Dennison.
The unions have historically taken the position that social justice is one of our highest platforms. And I was very very happy to know that our union representative voted against this acquisition. I think she's a woman of integrity and of the highest moral caliber to have represented what she felt was the will of the workers of Belize. And I want to applaud Ms. Anissa Perdomo. She's also the current Vice President of the Public Service Union. I have elections on Friday to fill that post.
Okay.
But I think what was equally important was the feeling from a true blue mayoral aspirant, Alan Pollard, who, like the unions, we felt represented the will of the people. And you only need, in my opinion, look at the formulation of the board to understand that, as Mr. Sanchez was trying to say, that the result was a foregone conclusion when you look at the politics of it all in relation to the vote itself. The other members who are appointed have a certain color, and they would have voted in relation to the will of those that would have wanted the acquisition. So it's unfortunate. I don't think they had enough information to have made the decision that they made. I am happy to have a look at the information, and if that information does prove that buying SpeedNet was such a excellent investment, I will eat my words and take it back. But for now, what we know doesn't seem to support the decision.
You were in the Senate. You were in the Senate earlier that day.
Yes.
When this vote was taken on St. Thomas Street.
Yes.
And so, lead opposition Senator Patrick Farber got up and said, well, we're staging a walkout because we just got word of this 8-2 vote. What was your thought at that point in time, and how did you react to and participate in the walkout?
I will say categorically that there were 2 walkouts being staged at that same time. If you can look back at the video, well, I think that might have been off camera, but when we heard of the vote, the social partners did caucus, and in fact we formulated our own decision to walk out. And so it was actually in an intermission where we were deliberating that the leader for the opposition party would have indicated to us their position. So what ought to have happened was that the lead opposition senator would have given his remarks, and he would have walked out, and we would have given some remarks and walked out. But the movement happened so quickly, and
Very fluid.
and it was very fluid, and so I make no I think it happened organically. I feel like when they moved, having the president shut down the public forum, as it were, I think the opportunity would have been lost had we stayed and then come back and tried to do it again. So I think it happened exactly how it ought to have happened.
I think the walkout definitely spoke volumes, and it showed where you all stand as a Senate to the Belizean public. But I think for a lot of us and for our viewers, we're still in the dark as to this smart acquisition, why it's happening, why did the rush really. And so you said, based on the information that you have, you don't think that it's the right move at this time, but what is the information that you have?
Okay. I think
Ryan, or VP?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I think that's exactly the point. Right? There is not enough information, we believe, as a business entity to be able to take or to make a decision of such magnitude of investment that we have, you know, for any business going to any lending institution, right? Borrowing any amount of money, the bank will always ask you, can I see your financial? Can I see 3 minimum to 5 years of what that is for them to say, okay, this looks good or this looks bad. And for us, that's one of the major premises that we have. We don't have enough information there. Having 1 year information for $80 million, it just doesn't make any prudent
How do you
business sense at
respond
this
to
point.
the notion that these are 2 private companies that are engaged in this transaction, or that would be engaged in this particular sale, where we're saying that the Belize Telemedia Limited is publicly owned but privately run? SpeedNet is a private company. Would they be compelled in this particular scenario to open their books to anyone other than perhaps to BTL, if that were the case?
The reality is we are not. How can I say? BTL, yes, it's a private company, but it's owned by the public in majority.
Larger shares.
Right? And in the beginning, you also wanted to borrow public money, public finance. And so it's the will of the people and the desire of the people to truly understand why and how we will invest our money. And from the business standpoint, it's equally important, right? Because it's our taxes, it's the people tax money that you're dealing with. This is not an ordinary private business transaction. It's a private business transaction that you are requesting public funds to do what you want to do.
How sure are we? I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen actions like this where members of government make rash decisions in sort of purchasing or being a part of a situation like this where monies are being spent to buy over a business and so forth. So what makes this situation different this time around?
Different in several aspects. Let me take some time to look at the regulatory framework. I think it's important that the Belizean people understand that the telecoms industry is regulated, right? So the Public Utilities Commission has a duty to the people of Belize to ensure that things that tend to be anti-competitive doesn't obtain in Belize. And the PUC has publicly stated that BTL enjoys a certain dominance position, and in relation to the market that it would be obtaining from Smart, no one else offers that sort of services as an entire package. So you will effectively be monopolizing that aspect of the business. I think it's a misinformation to suggest that, because there are other people who operate in the telecom industry, people that sell cable on a small scale, people that sell internet on a small scale, that it's not it wouldn't be a monopoly. But effectively, when you lose the option of having different cell phone providers, when you lose the option of having people who are selling the full package to you, the bundles that you can have your internet and your cell phone on one plan, when you group that all together and they take over such a big market share, it leaves the Belizean people vulnerable. And if I will extrapolate that, if the 8-2 vote was any reflection of the mindset of the current composition of the board, then it doesn't leave me feeling any safer that they will make decisions in the future that will be in the benefit of poor Belizeans or the average Belizeans, the middle class Belizeans. So, and I would say it in terms of rates, because the truth is, BTL is too big to fail already. And how does a company like BTL generate more revenue? It can increase prices, and if you don't have any competition, there's no check on you. And I think if PUC is going to leave that to fate, to the decision makers of the board of BTL, that they would put the Belizean people at that sort of risk, I think that's too dangerous. I think that danger in itself, with their track record now of this vote, because I thought they had stopped this, you know. I thought this issue was dead. I thought when we hit the pause, it was, okay, yeah, we made a bad decision, let's stop.
But it wasn't an indefinite pause.
It wasn't.
Right? So it was, in my opinion, it had always been left open-ended. So it would have only been a matter of time
Before we saw this
this
coming
comes
again.
right back, which has manifested.
I will say to you, I had hoped common sense would prevail. Obviously it didn't. The pause was not to reflect on what we did and take accountability and responsibility. The pause was, yeah, let's not do it right now. And man, that blows my mind to think that decision makers would just say, no, let's just do it then, in the face of what happened when they first brought this to the table. So I say that to make the point. You would have seen the social partners would have come out with a press release immediately. That was actually being formulated before the walkout. And so why was that? Because we already had a position in relation to this buyout, and we already had next steps in relation to the parliamentary steps that we would take if the BTL deal went through, and that's not a bluff.
Let's get you into the conversation at this point, Ryan, in terms of your observation from where you stand as a representative of the chamber as well.
I mean, one of the things I'd really want to highlight is that the social partners position really hasn't changed too much since, when was it, January 8th and 9th that the Chamber and Union first sent out their press releases. If you read the wording in both of them, the language has stayed almost exactly the same. The only difference is that the cable stations are out of the equation. But from the beginning, both the NTUCB and Chamber have been calling for more financials. I think as soon as that information became public, that became one of the key selling points. The Telecommunications Act has, in my view, wording that on its face of it posed a problem to this whole deal. That issue still hasn't been addressed, or I don't know, dealt with it at all. So we have issues like that, and then we've also seen actions from the PUC, for example, like a dominant provider. So they are doing things in the meantime, but on the legality itself of a deal of this magnitude, we just haven't gotten any update.
So, in the latter part of last week, the chamber issued a statement in which it was making 5 demands, if I'm not mistaken, of the government and all the players. Right. Okay, yeah. It's the chamber and the BNN and all these other groups. You're right. But there was a list of demands being made, right? Do we believe that these are practical demands that are perhaps reasonable for any of these parties to meet?
Can I answer that?
Sure,
one?
go right ahead.
I think it's a foreshadowing.
Okay.
I think what it is the social partners saying directly to the powers that be, pause to reflect on these 5 matters. Your decisions in these particular area will be very telling in the very near future. So, take the hubris out of the position and reflect on what really is at stake here. Take the money out of the equation. This is a wealth transfer that is bad for the Belizean people. We've been here before. In my lifetime, we have been here, and we will see a repeat of history. Take those 5 points, the first one being AG, give us an opinion on the effect of the Telecom Act in relation to this acquisition. I don't care for the AG's opinion. I got my own opinion. I am saying to the government, look upon that. That should be the biggest, most glaring obstacle to this moving forward. You cannot create a position, and I am personally willing to take that question to the highest court in this country. On that factor alone, this deal ought to fail. But if you think that is not enough, look at the other point.
The Telecoms Act, speaking in reference to having competition?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And particularly in relation to not permitting things that would have the effect of lessening competition.
Yeah.
That's where we think this has to fall. And I don't know that any rational Belizean can see it any other way. If the law was created to ensure that we don't have this sort of anti-competitive practice happening, and if you just look at how it's being packaged, like it's being packaged with so little information that, like, I wonder who they do their maths. Like, this can't be any sort of real analysis that has happened to decide we will pay over Smart in 4.2 years. Like that's not real analysis. Like, if that's the decision that the board used to make their decision, then I say we have to move that entire board except Alan Pollard and Anissa Perdomo.
I think that the question that is on the minds of the public really is this necessary, and who does it benefit? And in the longer run, we're trying our best to understand why it's even happening in the first place. I believe that in January, there was the conversation of, well, you know, Smart is in the red. It will be in the best interest of the public if we buy it over, because then that means that we have a telecommunication that's running for everybody all the time.
Well, part of the rationale too was market size and
Right.
share. If you have two companies, only so much space is left for either of the two companies to grow, given the size of the market
Right.
in total.
You know, I agree with what Denison is saying, but I'll bring this down to the layman.
Please.
Right? Because the reality is we have a history to go back to, where what BTL was before, when there were competition, then all of a sudden there was one monopoly. What happened there? I don't think we need to sit down and ponder what will happen in the future with a monopoly. That's
You have a historic reference point.
That's what a monopoly does, right? And more so if the laws are not in place to regulate what those are, and they are not, because we are talking about the section 42.4, which I'll leave Ryan to talk about more. But if these things are not in place, who are you, whether government or the people out here, to say, listen, you are taking advantage of me? Remember the simple time when voice over IP came about, right? Everybody was able to do that, and the telecommunication giant at the time chose no.
Because
it's not
they
time
thought
for
and
you.
said that they would have lost money if people communicated by VoIP as opposed to making your regular calls 75 cents or what have you.
And so these it's always important to look at history to find out where you're going in the future. And that's what we are trying to say. Listen, if you want to do all of this, do the work, get the work done. I'm talking to government, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to those potential lenders. Let these things be in place so that the people can understand and make their street decision on this, because the reality is they are not satisfied and they are not convinced about what it is.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back we'll have more on this discussion right after these messages, so don't go away. And for our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, weigh in on your questions as well. We'll have more on this. We'll be right back.
Insurance fact. Did you know with Home Protector Insurance, home and property insurance does not only cover hurricane and fire? Your lifetime investment will also be protected from explosions, water damage, malicious damage, and more. So you can rest easy knowing your home is protected. Visit any Home Protector Insurance office near you to learn more.
The next station is not just a place, it's the vacation capital of the world. Mexican Caribbean, the vacation capital.
We at Fulltech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Fulltech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy 8. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation this morning. It's a two-part discussion with representatives from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and, of course, the Senator for the unions. Gentlemen, I want to go in a slightly different direction. And I don't want to be a theorist. I don't want to come off as though I'm putting a thought that is unreasonable or illogical out there. But this entire situation regarding the proposed acquisition of SpeedNet comes at a time when the government was already under intense scrutiny when it comes to procurement practices that were, for want of a better word, highly questionable. What do you make of the timeliness of these two issues, Senator?
I think it's a clear position of the lack of care of the opinion of the Belizean people. I think it is political suicide, and I think anyone who would have been in politics long enough to have thought it through would have said, not right now. The fallout wasn't just predictable, it was foretold. BTL and its acquisition was tested earlier in the year. There was so much pushback, And that's why I took the position that I thought it was dead. So to have revived it at a time where the Mira Million scandal is bubbling, and I don't think, let me be careful what I say here. I don't think it was isolated, and I don't think it is the only ministry in which it occurred. Let me be very clear. This is why we had permanent secretaries running government departments in the past. When you bring in CEOs who are not familiar with the entire governance structure of procurement and finances, and they come from the private sector, the buying of a $11,000 couch because OYE needs a new sofa set in private sector is a simple matter of the CEO signing and saying, go bring me an $11,000 couch. That's not the same in government, and it exists for a reason. But if you bring in a CEO who would go, but that doesn't make sense, like we look how we need a new sofa, like just bring it, and then they will instruct. Just get the sofa, like well the boss, so bring 2 invoice then, right? That's the sort of leadership that took, I think, us into this wrong path, right? So I said all that to make this point, Isani. It is a miscalculation of the highest order. Anyone who would think to do this decision in this current political climate isn't being mindful of the silent majority of Belizeans who are getting frustrated, not only with the cost of living, but with the access to resources in this country, and anything that smells like increased taxation. And I am reminded of it every time I go to the fuel station. That's my 2 cents on that.
Gentlemen, let me go in and let me throw this at you again, right? You guys collectively have looked at what is being proposed in terms of this sale. Is there anything in there that you believe would be beneficial to the Belizean consumer, having poured over whatever has been made available to the business community and to the labor movement? Let's start with you, William.
I think from a business standpoint, there are many things. A lot of what they are saying probably would be beneficial, right? That for me and for us at the chamber, that really isn't the problem. The problem is the guardrails that need to be in place, right? Without the guardrails, that's where we will fall short of whatever positiveness that they are proposing to do. It's just simply business, and we know that if the guardrails are in play, if it's going where it shouldn't go, that there are measures in place to deal with it. But from a business standpoint and what the BTL is claiming to be able to do, I think smart. I think any other telecommunication would be talking about this. That's what they do. That's the premise of that business, right?
Yeah. I know you wanted to go a little bit more in depth within the Telecommunications Act, in particular the 4.2 space. 42, yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the issues that we've been highlighting for the last 6 months, so since February or something. I think it's one of the more concrete issues.
Can you explain it to our viewers?
So Section 42 of the Telecommunications Act, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Senator, deals with general anti-competitive practices. I think there are 8 subsections in there. 42.4 in particular is interesting, and it has come up because I think the exact wording is something along the lines of prohibits any agreement with intent or effect of reducing competition. So the wording is quite clear. I remember early on there was some, at least in my view, trying to make it sound like it doesn't fall in the scope of that. It's a share purchase agreement, not a merger, along those lines. But the wording is any agreement. And while we do have 42.4, one of the things that I think we have to highlight, and I think it's Section 19 that also gives further teeth for the PUC to regulate. It's not the most robust regulatory framework when you're looking at remonopolizing the sector. One of the things that other jurisdictions have, for example, is a competition commission. So when things like this happen, when you have...
But they're doing that for antitrust purposes,
Yeah.
as opposed to what we'll be using it for, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the competition commission's can take varying approaches. I know, for example, I think a similar situation has happened in terms of monopolizing in the Caribbean. I forget the exact specific, but in a case like that, you'd have the commission produce a impact assessment before any decision is made. So the public, business community, whatever it is, workers can know the effects of it. We just don't have that, right? Nothing mandates the PUC to do that. And if we're talking about going back to a monopoly, I think that's something at least the public deserve. And there are also standing questions, if I can, to tie it to you. One of the things that I think hasn't been addressed is the effect on workers in this. That's been a glaring
People are concerned to
omission.
lose their jobs. in this
Isani,
merger.
I wanted to take it from that position, from your question. One of the best things to have happened out of this acquisition is the fact that the workers of BTL now have more love for their senator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they break up.
Yes. So I thank the board of BTL for bringing us back in a kumbaya.
All right, let's get serious. Here's
yes,
another
yes.
question I'll throw at you, gentlemen, right? What is your faith or your confidence in the Public Utilities Commission to be able to do its job and do its job effectively in this particular circumstance? Because we've heard from the unions, and you represent the collective trade unions, that they have zero confidence in PUC to be able to pull this one off for the benefit of all us under. Let's start with you, Senator.
I think the jadedness that has clouded the current climate in Belize is what would lead people to form that position. I take a bit more optimistic approach. I think the PUC has had the benefit, unlike the BTL board, of the decision and fallout from publicly the decision of BTL and what occurred. So I am more optimistic that the integrity of the individuals at PUC would be, they will be aware acutely that their integrity is now on the line. And I think it is that will cause a sort of astuteness and reflection in their decision making. I think that board is formulated by people who have academic prowess and who have themselves proven worthy in particular fields of interest. And I hope that their analysis of the deal will be done on a less myopic basis. And so I hope, it is my hope, that they will make what is the right decision in the interest of the people of Belize. And I say, with caution, if I am wrong, it will be the untoppling of a government. I leave it at that.
Let's get your take, Mr. Ashar.
The PUC really operates by regulation, and it must be said that need to be clear. And if they do follow their regulation and they have the integrity, as Mr. Dennison says, they will be asking for many and the same information that the chamber has been asking for in order to do their due diligence. If they get those and they evaluate well, I don't believe we will have a problem. The problem will happen when and if they do not get the information that is required for them to be evaluating for transparency, evaluating for the good of what the business is all about. So for me, it's not necessarily just the people that are there. For me, it's what they are asking for and what they will be evaluating to make the decision. And that's a matter of their regulation and what they should be doing.
I think that for our viewers that would need a lot more clarity, I have a question here by Lennox Hyde. He says, what does the Constitution say about creating a monopoly? I believe you guys had explained it, but he would like a little bit more clarity on creating a monopoly in telecommunications in Belize. Please explain it again.
The Constitution doesn't say anything about the creation of a monopoly.
Okay.
What the Constitution does is enshrine the ownership of all public utilities in the government of Belize. So the question of the creation of a monopoly is dealt with in the Telecommunications Act, which Mr. Rosado pointed us to. So it is reading into the fact that majority stakeholdership in the Constitution is vested in the people of Belize, always and not to always vest. They do that by a calculation of ownership from Social Security Board and the government, which is very technical and I won't get into it. But suffice it to say, to answer the question, is that it is local legislation that permits this. And I take this chance to say this deal can't go through or should not go through under the current structure of the Telecommunications Act. And I dare say now that on any amendment to the Telecoms Act that would seek to ensure the passage of this acquisition will not pass the Senate.
All right. So you answered my final question, because I was going to say, now that we're here, the Senate has made their stance. The different unions have made their stance. So where do we recon now? What happens next?
Stop the deal.
Stop the deal.
Stop, not pause, no, stop.
Okay. What would it take then? Because I would imagine that they would have to regroup, go back and see what can be done. I don't imagine that I know imagine that they're not going to try a different angle.
Deal with the
It sounds like business as usual.
Deal with the consequences after that. Like that, if any decision maker is not going to heed the call of all the social partners united together, their history is, this Belizean history that we have is ripe with examples of what happens when you don't. I say no more.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we've come to a close in our conversation. I give you the floor to say final words to our viewers. Let's start with you. Okay, Brian.
Thanks for having us on. I think one of the big issues when we approach advocacy like this is keeping momentum, and we need a united front on this, not only from social partners in civil society, but from the public, from the media, making sure that decision makers know that this is an issue people care about. The worst thing we could do is become pessimists.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, keep on asking them. If you're concerned, keep on expressing those concerns.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we will be definitely keeping our eyes out to see what happens next.
Yes.
All right, we take another quick break, and when we come back, the MSME program launches its new digital and literacy program. We'll be right back.
Every business starts with a vision. And every day, Belizean entrepreneurs are turning that vision into reality.
Hi, I'm Rosalie, General Manager of Cards and Merchant Services at the Belize Bank. Today, I am proud to introduce our new solution designed specifically for Belize's small and medium-sized businesses.
Introducing the Belize Bank Advantage MasterCard SME Business Credit Card. Whether you're managing everyday expenses, purchasing inventory, or investing in growth, this card gives your business the flexibility to move forward with confidence. Applying is easy. Visit any Belize Bank branch and speak with one of our SME officers. We'll help you find a solution that best fits your business. Your business is building Belize's future. Let Belize Bank help power what's next.
Need to submit your sickness benefit claim online and have a physical medical certificate? Here's how you can do it. First, go to ssbportal.org.bz and log into your My Social Security account. Next, on your dashboard, click Benefits and choose Forms. Review the requirements, then click Continue to proceed. Click Apply under Sickness Benefit to start your claim. Review and confirm your banking information. If it is not correct, select No and follow the steps to update your banking details. If your banking information is correct, select Yes. Next, if your illness is not related to an injury at work, select No and proceed to upload your medical certificate. Select your claim period and confirm your employer details. Read the declarations and click each to agree. Click Submit and you're done. A confirmation email will be sent to you. Your employer will also receive an email with your claim details and a request for your salary information. If needed, submit your sickness benefit claim online and receive real-time status updates.
Her phone, her laptop, her whole life in this apartment. If anything happens, it's more than just a loss. It's everything. RF&G Renters Insurance helps protect what matters most, even when you don't own the place.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100# key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Running a business means every dollar counts.
As a business owner, you face different challenges every day. You need cash flow on hand as soon as you can.
With Belize Bank's same-day settlement, transactions settled by 4 p.m. are credited the very same night.
The same-day settlement will definitely make a difference for my business because I know I have money in the bank so I can pay my suppliers, my staff, etc.
Faster access to your funds, better cash flow, greater control. And with auto settlement, it's done for you every day. Same-day settlement from Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
So it started off like any other summer day in Belize. I decided to go down to Builders Hardware since I heard they had 25% off on summer outdoor products. I got a couple of items, a chair, a grill, a cooler, and I got carried away, but the prices were so good. But anyways, I might have gotten comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Then I saw the news, man, the hurricane season was not playing with me. But thank God Builders also had 25% off hurricane preparedness items as well. Flashlights, batteries, sealant, first aid kits, everything I need. And guess what? My grill survived.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are joined for our second conversation that involves transforming the lives of MSMEs through digital literacy. And we have joining us on the couch Andrew Usher, and he is the Marketing and Public Relations Officer at the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good morning. We have Dr. Consuelo Godfrey, and she is a content developer and facilitator of the MSME Digital Transformation Program. Good morning. And lastly, we have Diana Carrillo, and she is project lead and a facilitator of the MSME Digital Transformation Project. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Andrew, let's start with you in terms of this particular program. I know it's not necessarily a launch, but you are reintroducing it with this particular cohort.
Yeah, so, the whole program is a part of our wider initiative to really reach out to the MSMEs that are in Belize and give them, the opportunity to participate in a free, because we have to start with that, it's a free digital transformation and literacy program that's hosted on our e-campus, which was actually donated to us by the ITC ILO, which is the training center of the International Labour Organization. And part of the Chamber's mandate is, of course, as a part of our CCC philosophy, which is to connect, capacitate, and champion, is to capacitate the MSMEs to strengthen their skills and their knowledge base so that they can improve and thrive in a rapidly changing world. And of course, we're in the age of AI and digital transformation right now. And aside from, the regular Chat GPT and Gemini, there's a lot of other programs that MSMEs can benefit from. And so we've had this program for some time now in different iterations. This version is in collaboration with the Ministry of E-Governance, the Government of Belize, and of course their DBED program. So we've had about five cohorts so far. So we're going, and we have a full training calendar. So basically we have about 4 or 5 more cohorts to go. And so we really want to encourage MSMEs that are out there that have not participated in the program, that want to enhance their business capacity, to sign up and be a part of something that is of course free, but also engaging and educational.
Yeah, you said that digital literacy and so on, it's a very huge spectrum. A lot of small businesses are not owned by persons that are tech savvy. Some of them, Facebook I think is like the most that they would utilize that space. So let's talk about what the program offers and its different categories.
Okay, sure. So this round of cohort that we're doing with all of the MSMEs, this one we've included now a new module. So this has 6 modules. We cover an introduction, of course, to say exactly what digital transformation is, to understand that it's not just digitization, which is you basically scanning a document, having it on the computer, but what does that actually mean for your business? How do you apply these tools? Then from there, we go into operational efficiency. So of course, like it says, how do you as a small business use these tools again that are applicable to you, that's key, applicable to you and your business to become more efficient. We cover topics as well, cybersecurity, a key one, because a lot of small and micro business particularly tend to feel as if though they cannot be a target or wouldn't be a target, like I'm too small to be targeted. I think a lot of individuals feel that way. Yeah. However, when they go through this course, they tend to realize I'm a lot more vulnerable than I anticipated, and there are small steps they can take to become safer. So that's also another topic that we cover. We cover, of course, digital financial transformation, because finances is key. Of course, they're there to make a profit, but we need to let them understand that in order for you to reach a wider spectrum of customers, how do you have different payment methods implemented? How do you track your inventory? These type of things. Marketing, because now we don't really have storefronts, you just have social media and these different, so you can literally be at home working from your room, your desk, the kitchen, and once you have social media, that's how you can make sales. And then we also have the business tax and IRS, which is that's the new model that we added, and it's very important for them because we want them to understand that, of course, when you start a business, a lot of times it starts out of maybe necessity of having an extra income, or also maybe it was a hobby that you loved and you enjoyed, and you have a lot of creative people that get into it, and so that business aspect you tend to forget there are obligations as a business that you have to ensure you meet. So we added that because we realized that in addition to the finance, the business tax and understanding the IRS portal is very key and important for them.
So you said that this is a free and it's an e-campus and so forth. How do people get on this?
There's a couple of ways to reach out. We actually have a BCCI MSME digitization project page that's on Facebook, so if people want to go and search for it, they'll be able to find it that way. They can also reach out to us via email to bdo@belize.org, a very short email, bdo@belize.org. Or they could just contact us directly at 2235330. That's the main line at the chamber. If they also want an additional email, the chamber's primary email is bcci@belize.org. So there's a variety of ways to get through to it. And on the digitization page, there's actually the link, as well as QR codes that we're going to be supplying in new graphics that they can scan or just click and sign up for it.
How do we persuade MSMEs that such an initiative is important for them to buy into, particularly when you have people who are already fixed in their way of seeing business and doing business?
A lot of the small and micro businesses in Belize started organically. So a passion, I wanted to do this thing, I want to, explore this avenue. I'm tired of just making my small full-time income. They want to do a little hustle on the side. And so what ends up happening to a lot of the small and micro businesses is that they feel throughout that process, they're just going to grow in small steps, right? And in growing in small steps, they don't realize that there are lots of other things they need to be involved in. For example, Diana spoke about the operational efficiency. A lot of the small and micro businesses don't even know what that means. What does it mean to run my business, manage my business, track my business? And so when we invite them into the course and they sign up and they go into the first check-in, because the check-ins aren't mandatory, but we do invite them to come on Mondays, 6:30. We have one tonight, which is covering operational efficiency. That's the second module. But the hook here for the business is, how can I stabilize? How can I put structure? How can I ensure that the procedures I'm following is in compliance with the laws, is in compliance with business systems that are currently here, because they are governed by those systems. Whether you're the sell panades on the side of the street, whether you're the do like the Lee Beans lady on Central American Boulevard, I always use her as an example. Doesn't matter the size of your business, you are going to be governed by certain systems, and if you're not careful, you can run into issues and have challenges working with those systems. You want to get funding, you want to be able to apply for a grant, you want to be able to apply for a loan. You don't do that by not having structure and a system. So when businesses come to us, they realize, oh, I like this because I didn't think about that. I didn't realize that all those receipts I was storing in my purse, or all those things that I'm putting in a little shoebox in the drawer in my office at home, they have, I have to find a better way to store that, a better way to track that. And so as a result of that, you find that a lot of the small and micro businesses, they, after that first check-in and they realize, and we've had such good success with this program because other businesses realize, oh, they like it, and so they spread the word, and so we've, this is our third year doing this, and we've done over almost 300 small and micro business since we started. This is to tell you that it's been something that's been spreading, and they see the value in why they should learn these things.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that exactly what Dr. Godfrey said there. I think a lot of time when people hear the topic, they feel like it's just going to be another generic course, and they didn't realize that we would touch on certain topics that impacts them. And also, I think people who, like you said, are not tech savvy might be intimidated, but when they get there, they realize as well, we try to offer tools or recommend tools at every level. So free, of course, because as a micro and small business, a lot of time you need that free option.
Yes.
So there's always a free recommendation, and then we also offer or recommend other tools that can then be paid if you're scaling or growing. So there's something for everyone at every level you are. And then even when we have people coming in who are a bit more knowledgeable, it's great because they tend to be, like Dr. Godfrey would call them, our champions in the room, and they can help the other MSMEs. So in addition to learning, they also get the networking aspect. And so from this, we've also seen where we've had businesses connect with one another, and they've started to collaborate and work with one another. And so that's been great. Something as small as having a Google page. That's one of the things we recommend in this course, and so many of them is like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was free and that you could do that. I'm like, yes, it is free and you can. And so they open a page, and by the time they finish, they have at least that one item that now they're one step closer to being found online.
I know you talked a little bit about cybersecurity and so forth. Do these businesses have to be registered? And do you also discuss things like securing IPs and having copyright policies and so forth?
So that's an excellent question, because I know that's a topic not just in Belize but the wider region that's being spoken about. And yes, so they don't need to be registered, right? They don't need to be formal, because we know that 80% of the economy is MSMEs, and from there we know that there's still a large majority of them that are informal.
Yes.
And so no, we've ensured that there's minimal barriers to these people. However, we do touch on the topic of encouraging them that if they're not registered, that they should. And hence the reason we brought in the topic about Belize tax service and business tax and IRIS, because we wanted to ensure, we would get this question a lot: do I have to this, do I have to pay tax, and how do I do it? So although we have these set modules, there are a lot of questions that come up, and we try to still direct them to where they can get the information, or if we have the information. IP as well, patent, trademark, all of this, that's a question that has been coming up as well now that we're doing this new cohort. So I think what it reflects to us is that we need to see how maybe in a future course we can incorporate something like that for them, because they're curious and they want to know, and that's great to see that they're asking those questions.
This is the third cohort, right? Fifth cohort.
But third year.
Third year.
Yes.
All right. Have you guys been able to perhaps reflect on some of the successes of previous MSMEs that have participated in this particular program?
Yes, and we use those in our, we use a lot of those examples in our training. One of the things we try to do in the training is because it's online, it's a long day and people log in at 6:30, that's more or less the time they log in. We try our best, Diana and I try our best to make it as engaging as possible. And one of the things we do is we use those very successes of those businesses that have done this journey and have reaped a lot of benefits from having to learn these skills and these tools. I always talk about the tacos lady on Fabers Road and her ability to have changed from just collecting cash to now having the e-cash and the digi-wallet, and that has really increased her sales. And she literally just has a taco stand. And you know, people would think, but I mean, you know, one man show, one woman show, like, how will I use these tools? She's a really good example that we use. I use the one on Central American Boulevard, the lady that uses the beans. She does the beans. You take your container there and you can get your already cooked seasoned stew beans. Right? Exactly. So she created a niche for herself, but then not every professional in Belize has cash on them. One was you know, a lot of people don't carry cash.
And they carry cash for bus and taxi.
Exactly, right. So what are some ways that even a small or micro business such as those would be able to attract customers? If I come with my card or if I come with my digi-wallet, I could scan, I could just tap, and I would still be able to get your service, even if I'm on the go. And Belize City is a metropolitan of professionals. So if you're a micro or small business operating in Belize City, just using this geographic location, you have to remember that a lot of our professionals are, one, they want quick service, flexible service, adaptable, and what are the different ways that as a small and micro businesses you can open your doors to allow that to happen. So that has been some of the successes. We have, I know the dance studio, we have Jill and Craig, we have several different businesses that we've that have been willing to, you know, put their business in the spotlight and say, hey, we've done this, here are our different ways that we've been successful. This is how this has really impacted my business, brought audiences to our website. So it has been really, we do tailor our training.
You don't
to do
necessarily have to just take our word for it.
Yes.
We have videos on the digitization page that you can go you can go and view the testimonials of these people who have benefited from the course. And you know, it's just a great way that they've highlighted their experience. Some of them are actually repeat. They've done it more than once. And if you haven't gathered it from now, this isn't just about sitting behind a computer, a laptop, or a tablet, or even your phone, and just doing a course. Ms. Diana and Consuelo are actively participating in terms of, you know, allowing you to really get the best information that you can out of the course.
So it's not self-paced then?
No, it's self-paced. It's self-paced to the extent that you have 5 weeks to complete the course, right? So in that 5 weeks, however you decide to manage your time, no problem. But you do have a deadline where at the end of it, ask you to submit your portfolio, make sure you complete your assignments, and then the certificate is issued to you.
Okay.
So it is self-paced in that regard, online fully, because all the content is there. But like Dr. Godfrey said, we have these weekly check-ins, and that's really because I've seen a lot of courses that are fully asynchronous and online, and I think what tends to happen there, when you as an individual need to manage your time, you kind of fall off, right? Yes. Versus where you kind of have somebody where you could come in, ask the questions, be curious about, correct, and that's the main reason we have the check-ins, because of the support.
All right, yes.
And one of the things that happen as a result of this training is the small and micro businesses, they leave with a portfolio. And that portfolio is really their pivot to moving into the digital transformation. You said, like a roadmap, like a blueprint. You said you wanted to accomplish this in year one or in the first 3 months. Are you doing that? Diana and I have been following up with quite a bit of them. They do text us, sometimes all times of the day, saying, Ms. Godfrey, here's my vision statement, here is my plan to my WhatsApp business. Can you check it to see if it's working? Yes. And so these are some of the support, and it made us realize that a lot of our small and micro businesses out there really need a lot of support. They really do need a lot of support. And I really want to thank the BCCI and the digitization unit and the wider business community for embracing this and for allowing the micro and small business to even just build their capacity in this way.
Wonderful.
We're hoping for good things.
Yeah, so when does this next cohort begin, and when is the deadline to apply?
The next cohort would be in September 14th. So, because we're in a cohort, actively in a cohort right now. So that we're in week 2, and then the next cohort starts September 14th. If they apply anytime between now and literally up to that date, they're gonna when there's space, they can join.
And they can go to?
They can either send an email to bdo@belize.org, call us at 2235330, or they can visit the BCCI digitization MSME digitization project. It's a tongue twister for me. On Facebook, and the link is there, or the QR code as well that they can scan.
Or you could visit BCCI website. It's there as well.
On the BCCI website as well.
Well, thank you all so much, and congratulations on a 3rd year of this program, and we expect more good things to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we take another quick break. When we return, we'll be having a conversation with the new Miss Earth Belize of 2026.
Remix Season 8 is bringing the heat every Tuesday night. Experience Belize's biggest singing competition live from the Bliss as your favorite contestants battle it out on stage with unforgettable performances. The show starts at 8 p.m. sharp, so don't be late. Get your tickets today at Greater Belize Media on Coney Drive or 88 Shopping Center, and come be a part of the excitement. KTV The Remix Season 8, where Belize's next superstar takes the stage. See you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on GBM.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100 key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Her phone, her laptop, her whole life in this apartment. If anything happens, it's more than just a loss. It's everything. RF&D Renters Insurance helps protect what matters most, even when you don't own the place.
Before our grid reached across Belize, it was built by generations of Belizeans committed to connecting communities and powering progress. Through the hands, the dedication, and the vision of our people, the grid grew with Belize. A nation built through strength and resilience, and a network built pole by pole. Today, that responsibility continues, strengthened by every hand that follows, each generation building on the last, and carrying forward a shared responsibility, serving communities, powering schools, hospitals, businesses, and homes, supporting a nation that continues to grow. Belize Electricity Limited, built to serve, serving Belize.
When I install an AC system, I recommend Rheem from Belize. Unlike inferior units that drive up electricity costs, restrict yard flow, and wear out quickly, Rheem has the right solution for every space. With a wide range of options, I can choose the right Rheem system to keep every customer cool, comfortable, and satisfied. Because at Belize, quality is saving.
Best for you and best for me. At Benny's, it's the quality. Benny's, quality and saving.
My name is Ernest Miralda, and I'm 43 years old. I have lived in Monkey River Village most of my life. This is the place I grew up and where my family lives. When I was young, we had a big beach in front of the village. We had to walk quite a distance to reach the sea. There were 2 more rows of houses and then the beach. It was a free childhood in a beautiful community. I was about 12 or 13 when I realized the sea was taking the land. The sea just keeps eating the land. We had a big football field in front of the cemetery, and all of that is now gone. When we saw it getting closer to the school, that's when we realized how serious it was. In 2017, the cemetery where my grandmother was buried began to be taken by the sea. Her tomb slowly slipped into the water. The village was very concerned. People came together and started filling sandbags. It helped for a little while, but the erosion continued. Monkey River and neighboring communities came together to build a small seawall to protect some of the more vulnerable homes. The sea took my childhood home. Some families had to break down their houses and rebuild further back in the village. In my lifetime, we have lost at least 200 feet. Seeing the work done by the Ministry of Rural Transformation to protect the shoreline gives us hope. For my family and the whole community, it means protecting our home. Monkey River is special. We want our children and their children to grow here just like we did. We just want to preserve our community.
The Ministry of Rural Transformation continues to work with communities like Monkey River to protect livelihoods, strengthen resilience, and preserve Belize's coastal villages for generations to come.
Welcome back. We are joined by our newly crowned Miss Earth Belize 2026, Vashti Thompson. Good morning.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling
Very relieved.
Yeah, relieved.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, well, first of all, again, congratulations on Miss Earth Belize. I know that you had the pageant this Saturday that
Yes,
just
this Saturday.
went. Before we get into all the pomp and circumstance of pageant day itself, let's talk about your journey and why you decided to run for Miss Earth Belize.
Oh, thank you. But honestly, Miss Earth is an environmentally conscious pageant. And I am an environmentalist. So for me, it just made sense because it aligned mostly out of any other pageants with what I stand for and what I believe in. And I work with communities. I'm the community officer from the National Biodiversity Office. So I work with communities every day, and I see the need to give young people a platform to speak, and that was what I based my advocacy in.
What are those values?
So I am very environmentally conscious. So I really believe in sustainable development, caring for our environment. I understand and have worked with various NGOs, so I know the issues that Belize have with human-wildlife conflict, the single-use plastic pollution problem. So I do believe that having my background, I could make use of a platform like Miss Earth to really spread the message and educate Belizeans on the proper way to care for our environment.
I think that you're right, Miss Earth really is centrally focused in an area that is very near and dear to Belize. We have a very green, vast biodiversity here. We try to protect our environment as much as possible, not just for tourism, but for communities. How do you plan to utilize your platform now that you've won?
Well, we've had a lot of people reach out so far, including PAC, DOE, Oceana. So we're working on campaigns with those people.
Yeah. When you initially ran with your campaign, I know that, like you said, you are an environmentalist, you're a community officer. You kind of listed some of the challenges, but I know that for you, your advocacy kind of has to be very, very placed. It has to be very detailed based. What were you standing up for when it came to Miss Earth Belize?
So I focused on community-driven biodiversity, which is focusing on involving communities within our conservation network. Because usually it's scientists and people who work within the space, but every NGO that I've ever worked with has told me if the people are not on your side, the conservation effort will not work. So we can have as much policies as we want, but if the people don't understand, they don't protect what we have. So it's very important to educate our people.
So, pageant night came and went, and you were crowned Miss Earth Belize 2026. This is only the first phase of what's to come next in the Philippines. What is your plan to prepare for the world stage?
So we have a very hectic schedule planned. There's a lot of things that goes into it, including the training, the gym. Also, Miss Earth has a talent portion. We have our costume and dress to be made. So there's a lot of work to come. So I took yesterday to rest, but now we're back at it.
I was very taken by surprise, but I had to fully understand because I was watching it on and off on TV. Your talent itself was like a very visual demonstration of what your advocacy is, but it was also like artistic too. Are you an artist? Do you draw?
Yes. So the talent was kind of a pickle for me because I do acrylic painting, and we had 3 minutes to do a talent. And acrylic painting is not something you can typically do in 3 minutes.
Yes.
So I had to get creative on how I could incorporate visually to let people see, because what I spoke about was the issue we had with the loggerhead turtles that died because of the sargassum. So I wanted to present that to the crowd to give them a real life current example of what was happening because of climate change, but also present it in a way that is artistic and that I could demonstrate in 3 minutes.
And you think you could do that again on a world stage?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I'm curious to find out from you, Vashti, the support that you've gotten from the NBio office in terms of the people that you work with who share similar vision.
My office is the best. I want to shout out Director Cruz because he gave me the week off and he was like, take the time you need. I asked him, I have morning show today, can I come in later? And he was like, take the time you need. He's been so supportive.
Yeah.
And I do believe that it's because everyone who works in the environment, whether it's NGOs or government, we understand the importance of educating the people on these issues, because people do better when they know better. And so I do believe that is the reason why, but they have been so supportive. My entire office, when we had the bag campaign, 2 people from my office came to give out the bags with me. And it was a really heartfelt moment, because their work, you know, they don't have to support me in this personal way, but they still did. So I appreciate them so much for that.
But I think it's like you said, it's because they work in this space, so they understand the momentum of this. They understand what platform you would carry. But this is a huge responsibility for you as well. What were some of your, to you in your journey, some of your more achievable moments and some of your challenging moments?
Honestly, challenging was the question and answer segment, because I work in conservation. So when they ask us these environmental questions, it's very hard to answer in just 30 seconds, because I can go on and on and on. So getting it down within the time frame was very challenging for me. Also, the
without
swimsuit
being too
section.
technical, right?
Yes, because we want people to understand.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose them with all the words. So that was very challenging. But also the swimsuit competition was very challenging for me, because it requires a lot of self-confidence. You have to go up there and be okay to be vulnerable in front of this crowd of people, but I did it, and I'm proud of myself.
I think you did well. I mean, now you're the queen, right? So as you are carrying on, you will have a year. You're going to go to the Philippines.
Yes.
When is that taking place?
So I leave in October, but the pageant will be held in November. So it's about a month I'll be there doing all the different competitions leading up to the pageant night.
And what is your journey going to look like between now and October?
Definitely working on my campaign. I have to show my advocacy to the people. I have to work on routine, again, the costume, the dress. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm very excited.
I'm interested, sorry. Now that you've set off on this particular phase of the journey, work-life balance, what are you looking at there?
Well, I do believe I have very good time management, because when I was in school, which was not that long ago, earlier this year, I was completing my bachelor's degree in biology. So I was juggling thesis, working part-time, and also volunteering with NGOs. So I know how to manage my time.
She could juggle.
Yes, I can.
I think that it's really incredible, because you've basically given a new identity to Miss Earth Belize. I'm not sure if we've had conservationists or environmentalists as Miss Earth Belize in the past. And so I do want to say congratulations to be able to promote this advocacy. It's very near and dear to your heart.
Yes, it is.
What message would you give to Belizeans right now in terms of your platform, and what you expect in terms of support from them?
I want to reach out to the public and have them understand that the environmental education is so necessary, because Belize's economy is so environmentally based. Sure. So it's not just our tourism, it's also our agriculture, our fisheries. It's so much, it's livelihoods. And so when we think about, oh, we have to protect the environment, we're doing it for ourselves. People and nature are not separate.
I love that. Ashley, congratulations. I could see why you won Miss Earth Belize. And we want to thank you so much for taking the time, and we wish you all the best of luck on your journey.
Thank you.
All right, and we also want to say a big thank you to all of our viewers that tuned in. We want to say thank you to all of our guests that came by to have the conversation with us. It is August 10th. And if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, you can drop us a line here at oye@greaterbelize.com. You can also catch us live on our Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ. Check out our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. We also have a TikTok, so follow us at openyoureyes.bz. And if you want to call us or text us, we have a WhatsApp number too. That's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes.
To start your morning right.
So then, keep your eyes, your minds,
And your hearts open.
Have a wonderful rest of your morning, Belize. Goodbye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.